what's his name there? Let's just put something on.
We're live, Paul. We've started the show, and it's great to have you there, mate. Can you hear us there? I'm not sure what's happening here at the studio, but we're live on Facebook. It's 98.9 Northwest FM, the Paul, Mark and the Tech Guy show. And Julio, we'll get Paul with us soon.
Connection
he's,
there, but and
he's
even
trying to
some
get there. We
sounds
might just mute him at the moment,
Let me just
Julio,
check something.
if you can. Yep, there he is. He's all muted. But, gee, it's great to have Brad here. I'm going to get Paul to introduce him when Paul is with us. Maybe I'll just send him a little message to say, Paul, you're with us. But great to have our guests, our viewers tonight. Julio, how are you going?
I'm really good. Yeah, today, to like normal, I've been all over the place, and I'm back and a little bit rattled, but ready to go.
Yes, I think it's been one of those days, mate. I'm coming here live from Bohol in the Philippines, and it's a nice, beautiful, hot day today. I could have gone for a swim, but I didn't. But I'm here with the roosters and the dogs, and out in the village, actually. A lot of coconuts and banana trees here, so it's fantastic. And no, it's really good, mate. You should come and join me. Anyone should come and join me here in the Philippines. It's fantastic. I don't know what's happened to Paul tonight, but he's lost the plot. Are you with us, Paul, yet? I don't think he's with us, Julio. So I want to introduce Bradley, but he's our special guest tonight, and fantastic guy. Brad, how are you going, mate?
Mate, I'm fantastic. Thanks, Mark, and thanks for having us on board. It's really awesome to be here.
It's great to have you, Brad, and we'll do a formal introduction in a minute once Paul brings us into the show. Rather, those will have to do it twice. But I know you've been involved in Big Brothers Big Sisters. I've gone to Larapinda with you to the top of the mountain, so we've been to the top of the mountain, and I think, Paul, are you ready to go yet, mate? No, he's having a few technical problems there, Julio. I mean, you are the tech guy, so I'm a bit concerned that we've got the tech guy on board and we've got technical problems.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Paul, but I think he might have a bit of problem with his side. Not sure.
Yeah, all right. We might get rid of him again, and we'll just go to Brad, and we'll keep going with the show because it's an important show tonight. We've got lots of important things to talk about, and Brad started a new business, so we want to hear about that. We want to hear about Brad's life and everything he's been involved in. Incredible guy. We're very privileged to have him on the show tonight. Paul, Mark, and the Tech Guy. We're coming to 98.9 Northwest FM and Facebook Live on Community Heart and Paul, Mark, and the Tech Guy. So 2 Facebook pages and the radio. So that's a pretty good coverage, Julio.
It is. We've got 3 channels now, so it's pretty good. We're getting some good also feedback as well on both channels. So it's been really good.
So, Brad, look, we're going to do a formal introduction in a minute, but just quickly tell us a bit about, you joined Big Brothers Big Sisters about 12 months ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
Yeah, it'd be 3 years now, Mark.
And just tell us a bit about that journey, and then we'll circle back to your new business you've started.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I answered an ad on Facebook actually up in our local area, which is Ballarat for me, and went through the process and was accepted to be a mentor within the Big Brother Big Sister family. And here we are, some 3 years later. I'm still greatly associated with Big Brother Big Sister. I'm still connected to my mentor, even though my mentor Jackson successfully went through the program. But since the program, we've become great mates, and we still catch up. We go 10-pin bowling, we go hiking. The driving lessons are continuing, and we've seen Jackson, and you've also observed Jackson, Mark, grow incredibly throughout his journey with Big Brother Big Sister, even to the point where his younger brother now is involved in the system, and he too has a mentor. And the impact that the Big Brother Big Sister community on this particular I guess Jackson, but when we look at it broadly, the impact it's had on his whole family, it has been sensational. The whole family has grown without them really even knowing it, just through the connections with Big Brother Big Sister. I mean, Jackson was very unfortunate. He didn't have a male figure in his global, stable, good male figure, and that's the role that I came in and played for a couple of hours. And we were lucky enough that through Big Brother Big Sister and the mentoring that we did with Jackson, that he was invited to speak not last year but the year before at the AFL finals, Mark, and get interviewed by yourself. And I can recall coming home after that event, and Jackson said to me, he said, Brad, he said, did you see the guy in the front there? He said he was actually crying. And I said, yeah. I said, that was the impact, Jackson, that you had on the audience. I said, you could hear a pin drop when you were speaking. And I said, you were very powerful. You should be very proud of the way you presented yourself and you handled yourself in front of, not 10 or 20 people. I think we had about 400 or 500 people there, Mark. And, for a young 17-year-old to be able to get up from where he'd been. I mean, this guy had to learn to walk again. He had blood cancer. He was in hospital for 3 years. He didn't have a stable, male figure in his life. And, now he's got his first car, he's got a girlfriend, he's got a stable job. He's just developing so much. And again, it's through that, community and being part of Big Brother, Big Sister.
And Brad, what made you want to become a mentor? What led you to that situation?
Well, I think, it's I guess personal experience, Mark. A lot of what Jackson had gone through in life. A family member of mine had gone through similar struggles, and and I speak of my son, and he's okay for me to mention that. And he had some trauma in his life and some battles. Yeah. And there was similarities there, but the fortunate thing for Cameron was that he had a stable male person with him along the journey. And for Jackson to get through what he did, just with that one stable parent who's done an absolutely magnificent job being his mother, I thought, what, if I can just 2 hours a week, we can all find 2 hours a week if we really, really want to. And I really, really wanted to, help someone in my community.
You're a good man, mate. And what impact has it had on your life being a mentor?
Yeah, look, enormous. It's one of the most rewarding experiences that I think, anyone can have. And I encourage anyone that's interested in that, don't just don't just stand at the front door and knock on the door and be invited in, because it just warms your heart, to be able to play a small role in, seeing someone, through their journey at a very, very young age to develop and grow and build confidence. And, there's no better feeling in life.
I had the privilege of walking up Mount Sondor with you, and that was one of my experiences of my life. I nearly thought I was going to die. I didn't think I was going to do it. I actually achieved something I never thought I was capable of, and I probably wasn't capable of it. But having blokes like you around me really helped me get up the top of the mountain. So I really did appreciate it. I know for you, the mentoring relationship helped you on the walk, like it helped me, that, being part of a great cause. Yeah.
Oh, mate, I can recall times on that work where, we were really well led by yourself. And, there were times where you really, really had to dig deep. And it was in those times that, I thought about Jackson and the struggles and the challenges that he'd had, throughout his young life. And I thought, what, if he can get through that, I can climb this bloody mountain.
Yeah, it was a doozy, Julio. I know that you didn't think I was going to make it, but with the help of the guys, we got we got it through.
Mate, you pulled us up the mountain. You pulled us up the mountain.
So, and I think we're trying to get Paul on so we can start the show. Paul, you with us, mate? Are you going to turn the music off? Because we've got this great man Bradley on the show telling us all sorts of stuff, and he's trying to listen to a bit of music.
Looks like he's still lost the audio feed from the room, so I could hear him, but he can't hear me, so he's still trying there.
All right, we'll keep going, because this is a great story that Bradley and I we did climb the mountain, and for the Big Brother Big Sisters mentoring program. It was really a life-changing experience for Brad and I, but doing that walk enabled us to change other people's lives. So that was amazing, eh, Julio? You've done these sorts of things as well, isn't it? You're doing things, and it really helps other people.
It does. It's really amazing when you actually get out there, and especially with the same people with the same cause all together. It's an amazing experience. It's really good to be around those people, and it sort of encourages you to do more and achieve more each time you do one of these walks or commitments.
I think there's no better time in the world right now than the present time, to really, dig in and help your community. There's no better time than now.
Mate. Yeah.
No
And
better
Big
time
Brothers
than
Big
now.
Sisters have got a couple of great events coming up. We've got the bailout in Melbourne on the 19th of June. We're doing a walk at the end of September called Light to Light. So if you're getting inspired by climbing Mount Sonder and doing these walks, well, guess what? I'm going to do another one at the end of September. 3 or 4 day walk called Light to Light. So if you want to join me on that walk, then just contact the program and I can sign you up. And then down in Ballarat on the 11th of September, I think it is, we're going to do a bailout down there. So Brad's from Ballarat, aren't you, mate? So great to have you here. Yeah, it's actually the 19th most livable city in the world, Ballarat. Brad, what do you think about that?
Oh, well, it's because Big Brother and Big Sister are down there, mate. That's why it's the 19th. There's no doubt about it.
I mean, you can take offence at being 19th, but I suppose 19th in the world is not bad.
Well, it gives an opportunity for growth.
That's right. But I still think, that's probably, Australia's best country town, or one of them, I suppose. I'm not sure who the first 18 are, Julio, but
No.
What do you think of Ballarat?
I quite like Ballarat. It's a nice place to go. I'm not sure about. I've never been to the what's it called, the gold mining place.
Sovereign Hill.
Sovereign Hill. That's the one. Yeah.
Sovereign Hill.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to get up there, Julio, and we'll take you for a tour of Sovereign Hill, and we'll show you where the real gold is.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Well, we like a bit of gold at Big Brothers Big Sisters, and these events are gold. Actually, they do change lives. And they're a great experience as well for yourself. So it's sort of a bit selfish in some ways. You have a life-changing experience, but through having a life-changing experience, you're changing the lives of other people, Brad, aren't you?
Yeah, it's it's so impactful. As I said, there's also that added bonus, where there's that flow-on effect to family members. They see a change in their brother or their sister. They see a different attitude, a different outlook on life. And those you're just planting seeds without them even knowing. And, that was one of the things that, Jackson and I, we were comfortable in each other's space. And, as we got to know each other, we really sort of shared. And as I said, we had some similarities in challenges through life, which really connected us.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good, mate.
I did hear, though, that Mark also, when he goes hiking, quite enjoys sometimes overpacking. So is this true? Is he like one of these people that sometimes gets carried away with the event?
Yeah, that looked a bit light on for me, that one.
Well, it's
Well, he was like a good boy scout. He came well prepared.
Nice.
Well, look, I don't know what's happening with Paul there in the radio. I think he's a music man. I think he just loves listening to music. He doesn't want to listen to us tonight.
That's it. Yeah.
That's no good. But we're going to have to. I'm really dying to hear. I've got no audio, boys. So he's got no audio, and we've got audio. So I'm dying to hear about the Buffalo Pact. So I'm going to get Brad to actually introduce himself and his new business. I've been holding off a bit, Brad, because I wanted Paul to sort of hear this, but I don't know whether he's going to be doing anything with us tonight, because he's just seems like he's really keen on the music there, Julio. But why don't you just give us an introduction to yourself, Brad, and go for it, mate, because you are an amazing man. We feel very privileged to have you on the radio tonight. So looking forward to hearing who you are, and then let's hear about what you're doing this year.
Yeah, lovely. Thanks, Mark. Well, first of all, I just want to say thanks very much for inviting us onto the show tonight. I'm very humbled by it. So my name's Bradley Drew, and I'm the co-founder of the Buffalo Pact. So the Buffalo Pact, when I was doing a little bit of research on myself, I'm a Taurian, and the Buffalo. So I thought, what a great fit. And the Buffalo, it's interesting. Most of us through life, we've had some adversity in our life, and sometimes, when we face adversity, or in this metaphor, I call it the storm, quite often we're told to move away from the storm. We distract ourselves and we say we're going to deal with things later. And what I found interesting with the buffalo is that they're the complete opposite. When a storm's coming across their plains, they actually turn towards the storm. And by doing this, they actually spend less time in their storm. And
I think, sorry, just before you go on there, Brad, I think we all want to spend less time in the storm. And so I think it's a great thing you're doing to help people spend less time in the storm by facing the storm. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. I mean, we turn around, we walk towards the storm, we face our storm, and by doing that, we actually spend less time in it. And when I reflected back on, I guess, my business life, I spent far too long personally at times in my storm. And, my storm, it was a pretty severe storm. I built, I married young. I had 2 great kids. I built successful businesses. After 16 years, those businesses crumbled around me. And inside of all that, I had a lot of stuff going on with family as well. And, I lost my business of 16 years. And as a result of that, I declared myself bankrupt. I lost my home, my cars, my income was gone. My family had been traumatized through some outside experiences. And basically I was lost. And I was in a very, very dark place. And I hadn't faced my storm. But through this journey, I'd also employed the services of a life coach. And I credit this life coach today with actually saving my life. He stood by me. He helped me get through my storm, and he helped me reset and rebuild. And that's not easy. Let me say that it's not easy, but it can be done. 16 years of building a business, declaring yourself bankrupt, losing your family home, and then having trauma come into your life. It was probably
it's devastating, but we all can relate, I think, Brad, to having storms in our lives. Now, some storms are bigger than other storms, Julio, but I think, all 3 of us have gone through our storms, and I'm sure our listeners have gone through their storms as well. So, for someone like yourself, Julio, this is good news to hear what Brad's talking about, isn't it?
It is. It's also with Brad, with what he's gone through and how he's picked himself up. It actually is. It's pretty impressive that you've gone from one side to the other, and you're now achieving more, probably learning these lessons than before.
So let's go back, Brad, and just give us some reflections, because achieving what you've done after those 16 years of business, selling your house, being really down, and now look at you. You're actually helping other people's lives, and people want to get to know people like you, because we all want to get help. And I think this, there is power in having a mentor, power in having a coach, and so just fantastic hearing this, Brad.
Absolutely. And I think really the big shift for me was when I was in my darkest moment. My coach had actually called me, and he asked me, he said, how are things going, Brad? And I thought, wow, you've got to be joking, like I've just lost everything, and how am I going? And I'd said that to him, and he said to me, isn't that interesting? And I knew when he said those words, isn't that interesting, that there was a lesson for me here. And he said to me, Bradley, when I first met you those number of years ago, he said, one of the key things that you talked about was that you wanted to be a great mentor and educator for your family, and particularly your children. You wanted to be a great role model. And when everything crumbled around me, I drank a lot of alcohol, and I wasn't a great person. And he said to me, he, in a very direct tone, he said, tell me this, Bradley. He said, how is you drinking tons of alcohol and being who you are now, being a role model to your children? And in that moment, I knew it was a hard thing to hear, but in that moment, I knew I had to shift. It was time for me to reset and rebuild. And that's when the big shift came. And so now, that's one of the things that attracted me to coaching was that, in our life and in our journeys, we write different chapters at different stages. And sometimes things happen to us that are out of our control. And we need to unload stuff and break it down and repack it and then rebuild. And so through my coaching, that's exactly what I do. We unpack whatever's going on, in your life in that moment. We work through it together, and then we reset and we rebuild. And then out the other side, we become the best version of us in that moment. And there's no better feeling, I guess, than, being able to see people grow. We spoke about it earlier, Mark and Julio, with the Big Brother, Big Sister program. And it's no different with coaching. You unpack what's going on for you. We move or we shift limiting beliefs. We run through a program where we can, just help people become the best version of themselves and help them move things that are going on for them, as my coach did with me.
Yeah, well, I think it's exciting, Brad, and as I say, a lot of people need this, and I think a lot of coaches do change lives. But Brad, a lot of people hesitate getting the help, and I mean, what do you say to people that are thinking, oh yeah, that's good for you, Brad, but I just can't make that first step?
Yeah, well, I think it's probably, one of the triggers for people is fear. I mean, when my business crumbled around me, I went into a dark black hole. I thought I was the only person in the world at that time that had ever gone bankrupt. It's interesting, isn't it? When we look at the statistics now, it's a very, very challenging environment. So if people have got stuff going on in their life and they're looking to unpack it and rebuild and regroup, knock on the door, because the door will open. And that's when the shift will take place. You can be challenged, and we will challenge you. And as I said earlier, it's not easy. It's not easy. But sometimes life can knock you down, but it can also rebuild you stronger. And I've walked it. I don't just talk it, but I've walked it. I've been in those shoes when life knocked me down. And I've just given one little story. Mental health was another big part of my journey. And trauma was a massive part of my journey. And you hear the saying that lightning doesn't strike twice. Well, in my family life, lightning did strike twice in and around trauma. And that was a very challenging environment. But again, life attempted to knock me down. But again, with the right people around you and with good support, you can rebuild, you can regroup, and you can reset and move forward in life.
Yep.
So when that happened, Drew, Brad, did you get the mentor again helping you? Or, I mean, how did you get through 2 storms? I mean, it's unbelievable trying to get through one, but now you got 2,
Well, here's the great thing about great coaches. They don't walk away. 26 years later, he's my best mate. We still touch base, we still reach out, and we still connect. And we coach each other now. It's a great experience, but that's what great coaches do. They don't walk away. They're on the journey.
Julio, you've listened to this, the Buffalo impact, the pact of the Buffalo, the storms. What are you thinking, mate? How do you respond to this?
That's a good question. Like sometimes you just need to settle yourself into some sort of procedure that you can start looking at what you're doing wrong and how you're doing things wrong, and hopefully achieve some sort of success. But the bottom line is you're going to have to go through problems, and sometimes it's can you catch it early enough or not. In this case, hopefully listeners will listen to what Bradley's saying and go, yes, I am going through the steps, or do I need more help?
Yeah, but Brad, I want to talk about the pact, the Buffalo Pact. What's that about? How that's going to is that something you want Julio and I to say tonight? We're gonna get on this Buffalo Pact and sign on the dotted line. I want to know whether Julio's prepared to sign on the dotted line of the Buffalo Pact.
Well, it's interesting with men like us. I mean, 15% of men in today's world don't have friends. That's a fact. 15%. 40% are struggling with finances, family, business, leadership. That's a fact. 40%. The Buffalo Pact will bring men together to be able to talk in a safe environment, to express what's going on for them in their life and to unpack what's going on. And we work together in a pact to deal with whatever's going on for us. That's what it's about in a nutshell. It's about getting a group of men together in a safe and respectful environment to be able to unpack whatever's going on for them.
What's the opposite to a buffalo? You got a buffalo that's going to face the storm. What's the other animal that most of us are, Brad, where we're not facing or we're running away from it? What sort of animal are we talking about there?
That's a really good question. I haven't researched that one, Mark. I'll have to take that one on notice.
All right. Well, Julio, you might have an idea, mate, because
I saw a couple of research here for me, and I found Mark in his youth doing something very similar. So, maybe just Mark.
There might have been a bit of humour behind that. But that's important, isn't it? I mean, humour, it's an important part of life, isn't it? We've got to be able to get out and have a laugh and a giggle and release that pressure valve, because we get tied up in life so much, don't we? We get into a routine, bang, we've got to get up at 6. I make the coffee. I get the kids ready. I've got to get ready for work. I've got to get a presentation ready. I've got to be, on the train at 6:30 or in the traffic at 7. And then at 8 o'clock, I've got to do this. And then sometimes we forget about just taking that breath, and smelling the roses, so to speak. It's so important. There's no better time than now in this current environment than now for men to get together. In life so much, don't we get into a routine. Whatever's going on for them.
Oh, yeah, we've got Paul back again, distracting us. He needs to go on mute him, man. Mute him. See, this is what's happening, Brad. You may not be knowing this, and we've got to mute Paul, Julio.
I'll just get rid of one of his feeds, and he should be fine.
This is what Julio does. Oh, hang on. What's he doing?
In this current environment now,
hang on. Can you mute him?
There you go.
This is what he's doing, Brad. Julio is distracting us. He's sending us left. He's sending us right to avoid the question of whether he's going to sign the Buffalo Pact. And I think he's just bringing up all these different things. He doesn't want to face it. He doesn't want to face the storm. He doesn't want to be a buffalo. That's what I'm deducting. Julio, I want you to tell the listeners, are you going to be a buffalo?
Well, I did. I found some picture of myself, I think. Yeah. Right. Yeah, look at this. I found it. Look.
Well, there you go. See, Brad, you've done a miracle job, because we know Julio normally goes the other way, and he's tonight decided to be a buffalo just because of you, Brad. So your work is already having great results.
Paying dividends already.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that slide. Can you put that up again, Brad? You'd like this one, wouldn't you?
That's awesome, mate. I love it. Yep. That's the buffalo facing the storm.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, isn't it?
But that's the lesson, isn't it? We don't distract ourselves. We don't deal with it later. We don't move away from the storm. We face it, and by facing it, we spend less time in it, and we come out of it a better person. And that's basically the philosophy of my coaching. Let's face the storm together. Let's work through and unpack whatever's going on for you, and let's move forward.
Well, guys, I've got to say, can you hear me?
You've missed the buffalo, mate.
I've missed the buffalo. Let me just get out of here.
Hang on, hang on. He was with us. We lost him. We want him to face. You got to face things, Paul. Don't leave us.
Hang on, Julie. Hold on a second. Okay. Well, I have my.
Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah.
I got him. There you go. Off you go. Hello, yes, you're back.
It's Paul Marketing Tech Guy here at 98.9 Northwest FM. We're facing definitely some big challenges with our tech, and I can't seem to get it through. I'm going to try one more time, but I hope you jump onto our Facebook page at Paul Marketing Tech Guy, and you can see us live with Mark Tech Guy and our guest this evening, Bradley Drew, talking about storms and finding your way. So check it out there at Paul, Mark, and the Tech Guy.
Does Paul not think he's on with us, or what? What's
Yeah,
going
he
on?
does.
He does.
I think he
Okay,
does.
mate.
I think he's on.
I don't think he is, mate. I don't think he's with us. This is the
Really?
difference, Brad. I think let's take Paul off for a minute there, Julio. This is the difference, you see. I think what we want is reality. How do you actually know you're going to face the storm? Paul thinks he's in the storm, but he doesn't know where he is. He's got, see, no idea.
No.
So, so Brad, how do we actually know where we are in life? Because, Julio puts up this picture. How do we know he's actually fair income and he's going to face that storm?
Well, Paul's out on the plains on his own by the look of it, and I guess Paul needs to, form his pact, and that's really important that, when we form a pact, we get good people around us so that we can face the storm. One of the things that I quite often talk about is that, you don't have to do it alone, and I think, as men, sometimes, we try and shoulder the load and we try and do it alone, rather than reach out and a load shared is a lot lighter than trying to carry that load on your own. And that's probably one of the biggest lessons that I share with people is that you don't have to go through this alone. You can form your Buffalo Pact, lighten the load, face the storm, and spend less time in the storm. How do you know your storm's coming? Sometimes you don't. Storms can just appear out of nowhere. And, in my case, the storm was rapid and quick, and it shook my foundations. And, I was very, very fortunate that, I had a great coach. I had an absolutely fantastic wife that stood by my side. And without her, I wouldn't have been able to face my storm. I had two great kids that, we really, really tightened our pact. As a small family, and one of the pleasing things that once we faced our storm, we re-educated ourselves and we rebuilt. Some people often say, "Oh, and where's your wife now?" And I say, you know what? 40 years still married.
Yeah.
And we've been together for 44 years.
I think it's just an incredible story.
People are amazed by that. My son. Through all of his traumas. My son battled cancer twice. He now has a brain disorder. He's had two severe traumas in his life where, one of the perpetrators was jailed and deported. It shook our foundations. But we formed our Buffalo Pact. We faced our storm and we moved through it. It wasn't easy. Trust me, it wasn't easy. But again, good people around you. I had a great coach. I had an awesome coach. He taught me everything I know today. As I said, he saved my life. There's no doubt about it. My wife stood by my side when a lot of people would run.
It's an incredible story, Brad, that you've got through two storms, and and here you are today, actually helping people get through their storms. So it's not like you've taken the storms and you've got through it and then you said, okay, now it's my turn to just focus on me and me alone. You're actually involved in Big Brothers, Big Sisters. You're mentoring young kids. You're now reaching out to people and say, look, I'm going to offer this program, offer this Buffalo Pact program. You can sign up and you can come and join me. I'm here. I'm happy to be your personal coach. And Julio, I think I know that you're probably going to write Brad's number down because it's a great offer, isn't it?
It is. It's an actually good idea, especially to this sort of stuff. And like you said, for mentoring people, especially men, because we're pretty closed loop people, it's a really good idea to have these programs happening. And yes, for me, I probably do need it. I'm a bit closed up as it is. So
how are we going to open him up, Brad? How are we going to get people like Julio that hears this but does nothing? I mean, that's, how are we going to go that next step and say, all right, you've heard Brad tonight. This is your opportunity. And we're giving, the Paul Mark and the Tech Guy show is giving you this opportunity to change your life through meeting Brad Drew, which is this is a one-off opportunity for you. If you're listening, you're in a storm or you think that you need this sort of help, what are you going to do? And how are we going to help people take that vital step, Brad?
Well, I think it's about allowing yourself to be vulnerable, Mark. I think, as men, we're quite often told, toughen up, don't cry, get on with life. But I think, you know, what I've learned, you know, through the journey of life is it's okay to cry. I have no problem at all now shedding a tear. I have no problem at all now about sharing my story, becoming vulnerable. I think that's the key. And when we're ready, and only we know when we're ready, we're able to do that and step into that space. And that's where the shift and the growth really starts to take place. So, Julio, what I would say to you, mate, is allow yourself to get vulnerable.
Yep.
Get your own little pact. Reach out, because you're not alone. None of us are alone. But it's about, you know, just allowing ourselves the space to grow. And again, the key is you don't have to do it alone. You do not have to do it alone. For any men that are out there that are feeling isolated or alone, this would be something of value to you. And the thing is, it is value. You know, we keep wanting to add value to people's life, just like Big Brother, Big Sister, Mark. You know, at the core of the values is adding value.
Yeah.
That's what we do. And there's no judgment. No judgment. And if you don't want to share what's going on with you in your life, you don't have to. The work we do is with the unconscious and the conscious mind. So you can share if you choose to, but you can also not share if you don't choose to.
Yeah, Mark always encourages me to share, but he has a weird way of showing that to me to share. So, but I'll try.
Now, it's been great, Brad, having you on the show tonight. And obviously, it's not a normal show because we've lost our mate Paul down there. He's in a big storm himself, a technical storm, and but he'll face it. Paul's one of those guys that faces up to his storm. So we're going to keep going with the show. Try and stay with us. We've got, I think we can run three. We've got 3 more segments. We've got another 23 minutes, and it's just great having you here. And I think. Julio, we've got the rant, we've got the tech segment, and we've got the finance segment. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, if you want, you got top 7 at 7. If you're like to do that, up to you.
All right. Well, we could let's just see how we go. What I want to do is I might go for the rant because I want to get Brad's comment on the rant. So why don't we go there, mate?
Perfect. Here we go. The rant.
Well, look, Julio, it's a time where leadership's got to step up, mate. Like the country, the world is lacking good leaders. And last night I had dinner with one of the world's best leaders. He's the captain of the barangay in Malaria, which is in the Philippines here. And he's the captain of an area. He's like a mayor. And he was just awarded the Mayor of the Year award in the Philippines. So out of all these barangay captains, and there's a few hundred of them, he was the #1, and I had a good session with him, and he's just all about helping people. He's not about money. He's a man of integrity, and he said to me, Mark, I don't charge anyone for my services because I don't want to be involved in any fraud, anything. So I don't collect money off anyone. I just give. All my services are free, you know, and I just want to give. And I just love this guy's leadership. I loved his integrity. He's got a heart. Now, this bloke's not like you and I, Julio. He's got diabetes. He's got his kidney failed on him. He had to ask his daughter to give him her kidney. So she had to quit her job and give her kidney to her father so he could live. And he's got people wishing him to die because they want to take his job in the barangay. And the last barangay guy sold everything and kept all the money. He was a real, guy that no integrity and just wanted the money. So this guy has not only paid for his own operations through help of others, of course, because this is millions of dollars, this operation to put a new kidney in, all this sort of stuff. And even on his hospital bed, he's running his service, helping people. And it's just an amazing, amazing story. And Brad, you know, leadership, I just wanted to get a couple of comments off you about true leaders because I think we need more leaders. And this guy, have you got a picture of him there, Julio? Did you get that picture?
Yeah, I did. Just give me a second. I'll load up for you.
This guy, Brad, he's just got this award. I mean, I've just felt so privileged having dinner with him. And, you know, when you're talking to someone that you know is a man of integrity, He's there for the people. He's there for others. Just an incredible guy, you know. And what do you think about that, mate? Leadership. What would you say about that?
Oh, look, I think it's, it's the key to, the foundation of what we do. It's, actions speak louder than words. So, we can talk it, but when people, like the person that you've just mentioned, not only it backs it up with actions, I think, that's the key. And I think, that for me is an outstanding leader. They don't only talk it, but they walk it. They're a role model for their community. I guess, they're the leader of their Buffalo Pact.
Yeah. And in the Philippines, there's a lot of people with issues. He's got people banging on his door every day needing help and support. And he's going to buy the barangay a new ambulance because they've got no ambulance. So, it's just incredible what this bloke's doing, Julio,
Yeah, well, it looks pretty nice.
That's his award. That's his award there. And Paul's still got a few problems there, but that's his award there. That's him. He's the captain of the barangay. And that guy's got problems with sight. The diabetes has affected his sight, his legs. He's really not healthy, but there he is, winning award after award and just doing an amazing job. And I tell you what, I've never felt more privileged than to have dinner with this great man and to spend time with him. It's amazing, mate. So there you go. There's the captain of the barangay 185 as a great leadership example.
And I guess he's helped in a lot of other ways. So, Mark, with what he does and the way he presents himself with the challenges that he's had, I guess in his storm, really. I mean, he's really faced his storm, hasn't he? And, he's still dived in and, look what he does for his community. That is outstanding leadership.
Couldn't agree with you more, Brad. He has faced his storm and he's signed the Buffalo Pact. We're still not sure whether Julio signed it yet or not, but that's my rant, Julio.
Nice. So there you go, Brad. I'm trying to get Paul back in. Here he goes. He's back in.
Oh, no. Echo. Oh, mate. Paul's got to go out of the station. He's got to go somewhere. I'm sure he can just get out of the radio there and maybe go out of the studio, mate. Join us. Paul, I don't know what's happened to him. Here he is.
Can you hear me?
Hey.
Hey.
Yes, I can. Yep.
Well,
I've got my own storms in Studio One. I've been listening though on the Facebook page at Paul Mark and the Tech Guy to your story, Bradley. Encouraged, really empowered. Thanks, Mark, for sharing about your friend over there in the Philippines. But like an amazing effort, and I think one of the most encouraging things about a leader or about a person is that they don't talk the talk and the macho and spread the news, but they lead by example and they live life through everything without the qualms and the challenges and the hurts. And mate, I'm sitting here and I can't get through, and then like now it's working. So I do apologize tonight, guys, on the Paul Mark and Tech Guy show, especially to you, Bradley. But for some reason we just had this hiccup, and we're back. We're back, but I don't know what's going on, guys. I don't know what. Julio, you're the tech guy. You need to help me out here. You know what I mean?
I was trying to really hard, but I'm not sure what's going on.
I don't know why we're back on, but anyway, we're back here. I can't go live. How many minutes we got left, mate? We got 15. We can try. We can try to see if we can connect it over. But anyway, we'll leave that one there. But we're still live on Facebook. So
yeah, great. And we've got 7 in 7, and we've got the tech guy, and we've got Renee's financing to go. So we've got probably about 20 or 30, 25 minutes of stuff to do.
About 20 minutes.
Let's just really shoot through the 7 in 7. Paul, do you want to do that for us?
Yeah, let's do it, mate. If you want to go with that,
yep.
Julio, that'd be great, mate.
Yep. 2, 3, 1, you're on.
We'll be tonight, mate, on the top 7 at 7. Got to be spirited at this very moment, mate. It's my own storm here in Studio One in Glenroy. Keep saying it tonight. The top 7 conversations that commonly come up in the locker room. And I thought it just relevant because when I was reading your profile, Bradley, it's just amazing. Well, obviously it's amazing, but it's encouraging to see how you didn't quit and you just stood strong. So I wanted to know, I was going to challenge Julio and challenge Mark. What is it like in the locker room? Because I think Mark's been in the locker room at the Essendon football ground. What are some of the things that the boys talk about when you catch up. So number one is the top 7 conversations that commonly come up in the locker room. Number one is the game, is breaking it down. Thanks, mate. You got it up there. Just play or up and coming, breaking down plays, who did what and what went wrong, right, and who's in form. Well, we don't have a lot of time, mate, but I would love your impressions, Marcus, on how the Essendon team managed to win over the weekend was it Gather Round? The Gather Round in Adelaide.
I think one of the things they did is they didn't worry about what everyone else said about them. So I think that's really important. The locker room is just a locker room. We just talk amongst ourselves. We don't listen to all the outside noise, mate. So that's a really good lesson that I reckon comes out of the locker room is just have the locker room.
Just have the locker room. So it's like, shh, that's it. Don't say anything. Don't say anything beyond that, out of those walls. All right. Good point.
Read the newspapers. Don't do anything like that. Don't listen to the radio. Don't watch TV. Just talk to the other guys. Know what you're doing and keep on course. And that's what the Bombers are doing, mate. They're just keeping on course. I was shocked that they actually were doing were better than they thought, but I was pretty shocked with the outcome. But anyway, it's good news, mate.
There was some of your talk, Bradley, where I sort of missed, but keeping on course is so important, isn't it? When things seem to get derailed, yeah. And and I guess as you mentioned, you had a great mentor, someone who picked up the pieces with you, and I really that's my prayer for everyone, even for myself or for each and every one of us, is that there's someone's a guiding light that can come across and just be that helping hand when you need that hand, and it's remembered forever. Here's a young fellow there with Marcus.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? So number 2. Banter and taking the piss. Well, I mean, obviously, forgive me for the word piss, but a lot of joking, roasting teammates, inside jokes, and this is a big part of bonding. And what I love, Bradley, you've probably seen it tonight as a witness and a testimony, is that, the tech guys banter with Mark and Mark's banter with the tech guys. What do you think?
It's awesome. It's
it's great, mate. We still haven't heard whether Julio's going to sign the pact. That's what we want to hear.
He's not going to do the pact, is he?
I would,
all right, mate,
if it's like Essendon locker room, it's pretty empty lately. Plus, it's the wrong ball there. I'm not sure what's going on.
I love it. He's a legend.
Bronco.
Let's go, mate. Number 3, performance and fitness. So who's fit? Number 3, who's fit? Who's struggling? Gym work, injuries and recovery, and conditioning. So that's obviously a very we just opened up a canteen at the Eastern Build last week, and talking to a lot of the tradies coming up, and they're looking really buxom, and they're going, "Oh no, mate, can't eat all that. I want to look good. Like I've got to make sure I'm not, going to go to sleep during work time and stuff like that." But I'm sure that's definitely a chat in the locker room is how you feel, what you look like, and we're a little bit competitive here, Bradley. We look sort of, we get into how do I look? You're looking sharp. Did you have a haircut? The 2 boys, Marcus, you and I have hair. No disrespect, gentlemen.
Yeah, but I think it's the weight, mate. The weight. We look in the mirror in the gym and think, good night. How come we haven't lost that 10K? We've actually put on the 10K. And that's why I'm a bit jealous of Brad, because he is a physical specimen. And Julio, I think they've got us covered there, Paul, these 2 blokes.
I love the way
I have no idea why you've got problems, Mark. Your diet seems pretty fine to me.
What a classic. Always good. Top 7 conversations commonly talked about in the locker room. We got number 4, coaches and tactics. And I think this is really important. A coach, mentor, a guide, someone who's there. But opinions on the game plans, selections and training sessions, sometimes praise, sometimes complaints. You need someone to just steer the way. You need someone to bring it back, as you mentioned, into the real life sort of challenges, eh?
Now, you're the coach, Brad. What do you got to say about this one, mate? Number 4.
Yeah, look, I think it's probably the key to the door, isn't it? It's, the coach and the tactics, or in our case, it's the coach and the tasks, when we're coaching and mentoring people, we set people tasks, to achieve. And it's really, really important to keep people accountable along their journey to get them to where they need to be. Just like on the footy field, the coach has got his tactics, and if the Bombers did it beautifully, the other night, everyone played their role, and it's no different, when you're being coached by a coach. A coach will set your tasks, and it's important to go the journey, You don't win a game of footy at half time, do you?
No.
And you don't quit at half time. You've got to go the journey. And I think that's the key. It's, challenging yourself, stretching yourself, being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I'd have to say one of the encouragements, Bradley, is that when you watch a team that's been absolutely, if we're just talking about footy, getting demoralised and and we've been through that, right, Mark? Essendon 100-point, and they still play. They're still playing. Can you imagine just some of the guys go, I don't want to play anymore. No, put me on the bench. There's not even that sentiment anymore. Like, they play through, they're still going, they're still pushing hard, but there's no reward, is there? You've lost the game. So yeah, you definitely need that.
Yeah, well, they show up, don't they? Every week they show up. Yeah. And they show up with a good intent. And that's character building, isn't it? Strong character building, good culture. Exactly. Showing up. Being the best version of themselves, playing their role.
Absolutely. So number 5, it's opponents, talking about matchups, who's tough, who's overrated, what to expect next. I think it's important, though, that leads on to that. Definitely a great segue, but, it's not about who's tough, but it's about how do we do it together? How do we walk together? How can we all get a better result, in a sort of like a common way? Mark, what do you think
Paul, Brad was talking about how we should be vulnerable. So, and that's a form of being tough, isn't it, Brad? Being vulnerable, you got to be tough to be vulnerable.
Oh, it's no doubt.
Tough, isn't it?
So someone that's vulnerable is so strong. They're putting themselves out there. I mean, that's character building again, and that's powerful. It's powerful for someone to put himself out there and be vulnerable, to open themselves up. But again, so rewarding, and you get so much growth out of allowing yourself to do that. And I think, with men, it's, something that we can all do better.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really awesome. Number 6, life outside footy. So there's other things that go on other than the football ground, on the weekend there. But what have we got there? Work, school, weekend plans, random stories. And it's interesting. We don't really talk about a lot around our after-hour stuff other than footy. So footy's a bloke thing. It's a man thing. I wouldn't mind some comments from some of our viewers watching here at Facebook, Paul Marketing Tech Guy. And I was just saying before, thinking, mate, we're not governed by time here because we're only on Facebook, actually not in the radio studios. But, it's okay to say, hey, what'd you get up the weekend? Did a gardening. I love the garden. I love getting out there and doing that. What do you do on the weekend, Bradley?
Mate,
what do you get on?
One of my greatest releases is just what you've said, is the garden. I love my garden. I get out there. Yeah. It's a breath of fresh air. I clear my mind. I recharge myself, and walking. I live in a beautiful part of the world, just behind a state forest, and there's some great walking trails out. So that's what I do.
Well, Paul, let me tell you what I did tonight. Can I tell you what I did tonight? Here in Bahal, mate, I'm in a little village in the place called Bahal. And it's not got McDonald's. We've actually got these motorbike guys that drive down the road here in the villages, and they've got this speaker going on. I don't know what it's saying because it speaks Tagalog. I don't have a clue what they say, but Rosario flagged one down, and they're selling fish. And we just bought a whole lot of fish we're cooking up tonight, straight out of this little guy in a tricycle, fresh fish. They're just selling it door to door. So it's the actual motorbikes come door to door. So that's what I like doing, is eating. That's a problem, really. But anyway, so tonight we're going to have some nice fish of some bloke on a tricycle that's drove straight past my front door tonight.
It's pretty amazing stuff.
Food into your body, Mark.
That's it. And fish is good, mate.
Fresh fish.
Fresh fish. It's a supermarket on the run or supermarket on wheels. Love that sort of stuff.
Tricycle, mate.
Tricycle. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, bun bao and all the great things that are happening in Vietnam and Indo, Buxo there. I love it.
There it is. That's just coming past.
Oh, there's Mark.
Yeah, it's Mark. There he goes.
There he goes. Eating raw fish on the way through. But, and again, what an encouragement for these people. That would I say, do they know nothing more, but they do what they do and they make it happen, and they live and they enjoy life, so it's just an amazing thing. Okay, but we're Paul Marketing Tech Guy. Top 7 conversations that commonly come up in the locker room. Number 7 is relationships and dating. So this comes up, but usually in a pretty casual or joking way rather than deep discussion. Bradley, why don't blokes have a deep discussion around the dating thing, or around taking out a young girl, young guy? Like, What is it that's so taboo about us sharing that side of our life to another bloke?
Well, yeah, I guess it depends, what generation or what year you were born in. I think one of the great things I've learned through the Big Brother Big Sister program in mentoring younger people is that they're really great at expressing their feelings and what's going on for them. Whereas, when I was growing up, it was quite taboo to talk about how you were feeling and what was going on. It was toughen up and get on with life. And I think if we bring those two the older generation have got some great life experiences, and the younger generation have got some really good new knowledge. I think if we bring those two things together, we're going to really have a powerful community, and I think we can all learn off each other. And that's one of the things that, again, Mark, we spoke earlier about, what were one of the rewards, you personally got out of mentoring a Big Brother, Big Sister. It was the learnings that I got, from Jackson, and just listening to, how open he was about, things that were going on for him. And he was a great teacher for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's the way it goes. Marcus, I don't know about you, mate, but I mean, the top seven, the top seven at 7, it was a little bit later than our 7, and we really appreciate Bradley hanging around and being part of that. But I had my own storm earlier, but you're in Bahal there, Marcus. I reckon we should get the tech guy. Surely there's something, mate, you can help me out, me and Bradley. We need a little bit more tech innovation in our lives. Let's go to tech, and then we'll come back a little bit after that with Money Talk, because we've got a really important segment about pensions and what's going on there in the finance segment there. You ready for that? Let's go. Yeah.
Okay, now talking about tech. Now, I decided to have a look at a couple of things tonight after listening to Mark's situation now where he's actually staying. And I found some interesting things, which was some nice portable unit aircon systems. Just for Mark, designed for small, compact use. And you can have it next to your bed if you like, Mark, there, just to sit next to you at night for, looking after. Or if you're after something more for the room you're in there, I thought of a larger unit. Now, all these are low-energy running systems that only require water, would you believe, Mark? Just for you and your needs, which gives you a bit more need. But I know that you like it really cool, so you probably have to go for the U-Butte big blown system that pumps it through your house from outside. So tonight I was just more interested about you and your tech situation, but maybe just a small little portable one for your computer next year would be probably perfect.
Well, I'm in a low-tech situation tonight. I've got no aircon, no fan. So we're just here. It's only like a camping type experience, but we're here tonight and we're going to enjoy some nice fish and some great company. So that doesn't involve tech. So it's sort of like a tech-free environment, although I am on the internet, and that was a miracle. But I'm here with the roosters and the dogs and the cats and some great company. So I'm looking forward to it.
Nice.
Mate, that's unbelievable. You just think about, what was Larapinda like? I mean, out when you were doing the walks and stuff, was it hot? Was it sort of like a little bit sort of challenging?
Very hot. I nearly died on the way up to Larapinda, up to Mount Sondor. I nearly died. And it was a miracle I got there, Brad.
It was a miracle we both got there, Mark. It was interesting because we started the climb at, I don't know, it was something like 2 a.m. in the morning, which pitch black. We only had this little head torch, it was one step at a time. It was as far as you could see. Anyway, when we finally got to the summit and it was daylight, and we sort of turned around and reflected on where we'd come from. I now understand why we did it in the dark, because if we had commenced it in the daylight, I would have psyched myself out. I would have said, there's no way, no, I can do this. But purely and simply because it was one step at a time, I was able to manage it.
There you go.
And it's obviously safe enough to do the nighttime with that small torch and be able to get there. Yeah, wow.
Well, sort of safe. You had to be careful because some people nearly walked off the cliff. So because of the dark. So,
is that right?
We nearly had a few deaths, but we got there. But
it was hairy. it was really hairy at times. But,
I was really concerned, Brad, because Julio's food and training session for Mark is Julio was the tech guy was training Mark leading up to the big walk.
That's it.
What was on the food campaign, Julio?
Basically, they're trying to get him down to rations, but the rations were like basically this for Mark, his idea of rations, and this was what I'm trying to convert into this, and it's not really working that well for me.
Well, something must have worked because he's having beautiful fresh fish tonight. He brought out of a tricycle. So.
Yeah, you got the fish, mate. So
I got a picture of Mark. Yeah, I got a picture of Mark's fish here right now. I could imagine that. It's really nice fish.
Fish donuts. I've got some fish cakes, mate, at the canteen. Come down tomorrow. You're in Bahal.
Hey, don't knock Bahal, mate. It's beautiful here. We've got all these banana trees. We've got all sorts of stuff here, mate. It's wildlife everywhere. There's heaps going on. Well, not actually. There's not heaps going on, actually. We're in a village. There's hardly anyone here, but it's very good. Very nice, peaceful living, family living.
Nice.
All right, boys, it's 8 o'clock. We better wrap up this show because I've got to. We've sort of got curfew here, mate. It's 8 o'clock at night here.
We've got one more segment. It is Facebook. But let's just go quickly to our finance guy, Renee, and then we'll come back with Mark, Brad, and the tech guy just to wind up the show at Paul Mark and the Tech Guy on Facebook and 98.9 Northwest FM.
G'day, Mark. G'day, Paul. And look, thanks for having me back for another session of Money Talk. Look, today we want to talk about should you downsize your home for retirement or in retirement. So look, for many people over 50, the family home is their largest asset. It may have grown significantly in value over the past few decades, and that naturally leads to the question, should we sell the large home and move somewhere smaller? What's the core idea here? Downsizing can offer, some potential benefits. Firstly, it can free up capital. If you sell a large home and purchase something smaller, the difference in value may provide additional funds for retirement. So that could be a real boon to help live a better retirement life. Secondly, a smaller home often means lower ongoing costs, less maintenance, lower utilities, and sometimes lower cancel rates. And thirdly, it can simplify lifestyle. I mean, many retirees, not just different to myself, don't want to have to necessarily, upkeep their homes and would rather spend more time enjoying retirement and so on. So that makes sense. They don't want to have to paint the house. They don't want to have to be clipping the lawn, doing those types of things, and so a smaller home may offer them that kind of more free and easier lifestyle. Now let's consider an example. Imagine a couple, living in a large family home. So let's say it's worth about $1.5 million. If they choose to sell and purchase a property for $900,000, the decision could potentially release, $600,000 in capital. Some of that money could be invested, to generate retirement income. Another option, or a portion of those funds, could be contributed into superannuation through the downsizer contribution. So getting it into a tax-free environment that also could, fund retirement. Now, I'm always mindful that, if I sell something for $1.5 million, and if I stay in the same suburb, even though I'm going for something smaller, the potential is that it's going to cost me just as much to buy even a smaller home in the same suburb just down the road. And you've also got to factor in, stamp duty costs and, the cost of sale and the cost of purchase and so on. So those things may come into that example and make the situation not that attractive, and therefore you might not pursue that. Now, so just recapping on those important considerations, downsizing is not right for everyone. Many people have strong emotional attachments to their homes and communities, right? So, I remember my neighbour, she stayed in her home until she was about 85, 86. She knew the people in the area, so she didn't want to leave. Unfortunately, it was just due to mental health that she eventually had to move on. Moving can also involve significant transaction costs. We discussed that previously, stamp duty, selling costs, and so on, which could be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And including there's also relocation costs and so on. And importantly, downsizing can sometimes affect your age pension eligibility or entitlement, because the home itself is generally exempt from the pension asset test. So that we know the home's excluded, but once I release cash from the sale of that home, that is included as an asset. So that might either lead to a reduced age pension entitlement or the loss of the age pension in total. All right. So what's the practical takeaway, from this topic? If you're considering downsizing, it's helpful to think about the financial and lifestyle implications. So ask yourself these three questions. Will moving, improve my quality of life? Will the financial benefits justify the costs? And will it support my long-term retirement goals? And if you can get a tick on, most of those, then it's probably a good decision to move forward on that. But if you can't get a tick on any of those, then it's clearly not a good option for you. So look, guys, in closing, just want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to share again with Money Talk. We've got another great topic coming up next week. So I just want to, just leave you with this. Your home is not just a financial asset, but it's also part of your lifestyle.
There you go. Welcome back, guys, here at Paul, Mark and the Tech Guys. There's some interesting comments there, Mark.
Julio's got to make a decision between the 5 homes that he owns, which one he's going to call his family home.
Have I lost a couple, Mark?
Oh, did you?
You lost a few.
No, it looks like I have.
Where'd you lose them?
I have no idea.
Is it 6 or 7? I don't know, mate. I can't keep count. You got 6 bank accounts, 6 homes. I mean, good night, buddy.
Good night, mate. Well, some people do have them, I guess. Some people do have them.
That's right.
Good on you, guys.
Us humble blokes like Brad and I, mate, we don't have these complicated decisions, do we, Brad?
What a great complicated decision place to be in, though.
That's it.
Well, I'm always envious of Julio, especially with his 6 bank accounts. You know why he's got 6 bank accounts? He keeps filling up one bank account. When that's full, he opens up a new one.
A new one. Mr. Watt. Good on you, mate. Fantastic. All humour, special humour brought to you by the Bahul people. Mate, look, thank you so much for, Bradley coming on to the show, and obviously a little bit of a technical challenge earlier on in the program. Here at 989, we will get you back on again, mate, and make sure we can get you better coverage. But really interesting background and story with you and your journey. We appreciate you taking the time to talk us through and share some of those stories. But Mark, I guess you got a takeaway or a take home.
I did say something wrong the other day. It's not 8 o'clock here, actually 6 o'clock, but it's dark, so it's like 8 o'clock here in Bahor. I can smell the fish, so I'm going to go off eat some fish.
Go to fish. Okay.
I'm hoping Julio's going to come over to Manila, and I'm going to take him to the fish market. We're going to choose some nice fish, eat some fish, and I'm looking forward to catching up with Julio. We'll just talk about those houses situation with him and the Buffalo Pact, Julio. We'll have a chat about that too.
We should, yes.
Absolutely. That sounds great, mate. Well done. And thanks, Julio, for everything. And look, so I guess, guys, we'll be back next week. from Bohol? Are we live from Bohol? I think we are. Yeah?
No, not from Bohol. We'll probably be. We could be in Nova Vizcaya, which is a province of the Philippines. I don't think our listeners know where that is, but it's called Nova Vizcaya. I think we're going to come live from there, so that will be different to a little.
You reckon you might be able to take us around and show us a little bit of the scenery, or the landscape there next week?
Maybe. You never know. You never know. So, yeah.
All right.
Anyway, signing off from Bohol, Philippines. And nice to see you, Brad and Julio and Paul. And we'll see you next week.
All right.
Have fun. All the best, guys. Thank you for our viewers watching.
Cheers.
Don't forget to check us out Facebook at Paul Marketing Tech Guy. Drop us a line. Send us a message. We want to hear from you. And we'll see you next week.
Yes, really, really.
Money, guys. Well done.
Bye.